Hey everyone, welcome to this session where we're going to talk about strumming. Basic strumming patterns as well as maybe where to strum on the guitar. Now, we're a very rhythmic instrument in nature, and so strumming is important. Sometimes we need to kind of give off the shaker vibe in a song, and other times we need to be able to provide a lot of harmonic value to like a down chorus or an intro or a down bridge or a tag or something like that. And strumming patterns matter, and they all change. Here's one thing to know. Every strumming pattern that you've ever heard in some way is a derivative of a straight 16th note strum. What I mean by that is this: down, up, down, up, down, up 16 times, right? So one bar would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, at that speed. Slower, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So a strumming pattern is just accents of one of those 16th notes. Down is a 16th, up is a 16th. Strumming patterns are just accents of one of those 16th notes all over the place, and sometimes we leave them out. So here's an example. No accents, straight 16th, down, up, down, up. Here's the same number of 16th notes between the two chords with a couple accents. Now, I didn't stop strumming the strings at all at any point in there, but I accented certain 16ths, some with a downstroke, some with an upstroke, and that's really you feeling that out. There are some like standard basic ones that you hear all the time, but there are also ones where you leave out 16ths and you don't strum every single one. So what I just showed you was strumming every 16th with some accents. Let me do that same thing, leaving a couple of the 16ths out. This. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can create a strumming pattern, and there's really no right or wrong way to do that. Just again, it all starts with a straight for 16 for each bar, and then you just start leaving things out, or you start accenting certain ones. You can do all downstrokes. That's an 8th note relative to what I was just playing. Here's 16, 2E and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Sometimes that's the perfect part for a song. You might be going... And that's the perfect vibe where you're helping build something, or the chorus doesn't need any syncopation. It just needs to be locked in on the 8th note. A lot of options. So consider that when you're strumming, start with 16ths and then start accenting certain strums in the 16th pattern and then start leaving things out, and you'll end up with a strum. Now, it's a very basic conversation about strumming, and there's a lot more to it, and there's even some graphs and charts that you can see that help you understand visually what that looks like, but it's a good starting point for you to understand. Another thing with strumming is where you're strumming, and this is a kind of a stylistic thing. Listen to how different these options are on the guitar. Each one of those gets a little bit warmer, and there's a sweet spot, I think, on every single guitar. You're not going to spend much time down here unless you're kind of country flat picking. It's not really the vibe that we're going for. It works for some things, but you may accent, you may go... But it's not something that you're going to spend a lot of time on. For what we're doing, finding a place that you can strum that's in the sweet spot of the guitar kind of matters. And so somewhere over the sound hole for every guitar is where the sweet spot is. So find that spot that the acoustic guitar sounds like itself. It doesn't sound too bright and crisp. It doesn't sound too dark and muddy. And somewhere in here, you'll find that place where your arm rests comfortably on the guitar that you can strum. So your pick attack matters too, and how you hold the pick and where you're placing your hand to strum over the sound hole, And sometimes it just needs to be a movement in the middle of a strum. There's a lot of stylistic things, and there's really no one-size-fit-all rule for this, but as you're chasing a certain sound from an ISO or from a reference track, try to identify how they're strumming, the strumming pattern, and maybe where on the guitar down here that they're strumming, and it'll really help you make your decision as you're planning on what to play for the song. If you have any questions about any of this, let us know, and we'd love to help you out.